Thank you guys for joining us for an episode of Scars and Wisdom. And this is a conversation space where we honor the truth of what we've lived through and the wisdom that now lives in us because of it. And today I'm so grateful and excited to have Minister Alma Thomas with us today to share her story. And would you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Minister Alma Thomas. I'm an author, a motivational speaker, a Bible school instructor, an ordained minister. And if you notice, I'm laying down, and that's because I do these interviews from my hospital bed in my living room.
We are so grateful that you are showing up and showing up so boldly in the world to share your story, which is so important. So, why don't we just jump in and talk about the structure of this is how we've had the scars and then how we've moved with that and through that to get to some of the wisdom. So, why don't we start with kind of the scar for you, if you could share?
Okay, I've had multiple scars. In 2009, my son passed away from heart disease. After that, my apartment caught on fire, building caught on fire. My apartment didn't burn, but all the apartments was condemned, and I found myself homeless. I got married while I was in a temporary situation. I was trying to fill a void in my life, and unbeknownst to me, that he was a drug abuser and he was in denial. So you can't help somebody that's in denial. So I got a divorce. So here I am. I'm a minister and got a divorce. And to backtrack a little bit, I'll talk about the stroke in a minute, but to backtrack a little bit, in 2009, when my son passed away, his first birthday in heaven was April 17th. And on the morning of April 17th, I got up and I said, I wonder if my grandmother baked him a cake in heaven. I wonder if the angels are going to sing happy birthday to him. And then not one thinking about being unalive, but thinking about spending my son's birthday with him in heaven. I poured a whole bottle of my high blood pressure pills into my hand, and I lifted them to my mouth and I was just about to take them. And the reason why my faith is so strong is because I heard a voice say, if you do it, you'll never see him again. And I put the pills away and I went to sleep for that day. But after that incident, I realized that I wasn't okay. And in the African American community and church, mental health is taboo. We don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about what's going on in the houses. What goes on in this house stays in this house. That's what we're told from young kids. Whatever goes on in this house goes on. And as a member of the church, not every pastor is equipped to deal with mental health. A lot of times when you have mental health issues, when you're talking about having anxiety and being depressed, they say you just under a spirit. So if you get prayed for and oil put on you, that you'll be all right. And I found that Sunday after Sunday, I was going to church and I was leaving the same way I came in, just a little bit oilier. And after that incident, I realized that it's okay not to be okay. I didn't care about the stigma. I didn't care about legalism. I just wanted to be able to handle this situation because the biggest scar that you can get in life is, I think, standing in the cemetery, watching them lower your son into the ground and thinking, this is not supposed to happen like this. He's supposed to bury me, not me bury him. He's supposed to be going to college. He's supposed to be getting married. This isn't right. And people would come to me and say, oh, at least he's in a better place. And Now you realize that he's in a better place, but in the beginning, you don't wanna hear that he's in a better place. You're thinking, "Okay, let your little Johnny go to the better place, and then tomorrow morning, you come tell me if the better place is better than their bedroom, better than their empty seat at the dinner table. You tell me." And I realized that those thoughts wasn't healthy, and I understood the stages of grief because I'm a minor in psychology in college, but reading the textbook about the stages of grief when they seem to go so smoothly, first you in denial, then you bargain, and then finally when you get to the fifth step, you get to acceptance and life is rosy. It doesn't happen like that. You fluctuate
Really doesn't.
between you fluctuate between being angry and accepting it. And so that was one of the biggest scars that I survived in my life. And then, of course, the last scar, visible scar, is when I had the stroke. And then when I had the stroke, it was like all my dreams and visions and aspirations are over. I'm laying in this bed. And before I had the stroke, I wrote 2 books. But after I've had the stroke, I've written more than 5 books with one finger on my left hand because I can't use my right hand, and that's my dominant side. But I found that, okay, I can text using one finger, so I wrote my books using one finger. And I do these podcasts since 2024. I've been on over 500 podcasts, virtual conferences, and seminars. And I do these conferences to inspire people that despite your situation, despite what you've gone through, you still have a destiny. You don't have to give up on your dream. What I learned early on, and I wish I could say I felt like this every day, but I grew to this to accept the things that I cannot longer do and embrace the things that I can still do. I can still use my voice right now, presently in a master's class for divinity. I'm working on my master's and then I'll be working on my doctorate. I'm still writing books. I'm conducting virtual seminars and workshops. So I'm still living the life that God destined me to live. When I almost died after the stroke, and they called my family and told them I wasn't gonna make it. And when I made it, I realized that the cemetery is full of dead dreams, visions, and aspirations. And I wasn't gonna die with my dreams still inside of me. So I do these interviews. So if I could just inspire one person that has 2 arms and 2 legs, and they might have been through some disappointments in life. They have might have had some scars in life, but just like a baby learning to walk, we fall down, but we dust ourselves off and we get up again and we try to walk again. So I fell down many times, but I didn't stay down. I rose above my circumstances.
So inspiring. Just so many moments that you were just speaking that I just felt just a visceral reaction to what you were saying. And so it really touched me in a very deep way. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your son. And I'm so sorry for the other hardships that you have experienced. But I'm so grateful for you and your heart, and that you're showing up in this world in such a beautiful way, and you're sharing your story, and your story will be somebody else's survival guide. And that is so meaningful that you are still continuing to write a book with one finger. That is phenomenal and just speaks volumes to who you are as a person. So I'm so glad to get to know you a little bit more today. And I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to share your story because it will help so many other people. When you think back along those different obstacles that you encountered, how did it impact you from an identity level? Like, how did those scars impact your identity?
They made me stronger and they made me believe in myself. It was like until I went through it, I didn't think I could make it. Like after I buried my son, I didn't think that I had anything else to live for. And the way things happened, I think fortified my experience. Like I lost my son first. So that to me was the worst thing that I could have gone through. So I made it through that with my faith, my support system. I made it through that. So I knew that anything else that was thrown my way, any other curveball that I was thrown, that I would catch them. And so I was not glad, but just appreciate the way that it happened. And I show up like this because, like I said, I just want to inspire somebody not to give up. I could have gave up. I could have had a pity party and laid on my bed and cried, woe is me. I can't walk. I can't go to no book signings. All the things I can't do. But I didn't think about those things. I accept that my life is different now, that it looks different. But it's like that when you go on a trip and you make a wrong turn, you don't say, okay, I'm going to pull over to the side of the road and I'm not gonna go anymore because I missed my turn. We have this amazing thing called the GPS, and you put your destination into the GPS, and it says rerouting, and you get to your destination, but not by the route that you plan. So I'm getting to my destination that I know that God has a plan and a destiny for me, and the first way might have been detoured, it might have been obstacles in the way, but I'm still getting to my destination. My current situation is not my final destination. That's what everything I go through, I was like, this too shall pass. This is just the death on the way to my testimony. That everything that I went through, it wasn't for me, but it was to inspire somebody who's going through similar things and have dark days and they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I can tell you that there's a light at the end of each and every tunnel, even the worst thing that you go through, God is still with you. That like when my son passed away, I didn't have an insurance on him because he was only 18 years old and I didn't expect him to pass away. And in 2 days, my friends raised over $10,000, and the funeral home man took off every cost that he would have made. We only had to pay for the casket and to open up the grave, but every cost and he didn't know me from a can of paint. But because people in the community was telling him what a great child my son was, that's why he did it. Even in your darkest days, that even then, God was with me. I was not by myself.
And that is such a whatever faith subscribe to and is for you. I think it's so important. Like you said, we have to find that glimmer, right? Those little glimmers of hope that this too shall pass, that there is going to be an end to this particular extreme challenge and hardship that we're going through. And it might take a few days, it might take years. Everything always does shift to a better place over time.
Yeah.
And what you said about not allowing your dreams to die within you is so powerful. And that's one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping people create a living list. We know about bucket lists and these things that we want to cross off before we die, but what about a living list? Like I really want people to be intentional about how they're living and showing up, and you are such a great example of that concept, that you're not just dialing in, you're not just letting life pass you by. You're actively showing up, you're actively using your voice. And that to me is embodying that concept of living fully with everything, right? Not hiding away because of what you went through, but fully showing up. And you talked about the grief stages, which is so grateful for the work that was done because it was groundbreaking for its time. But I think so many of us felt exactly like you did. It's not mirroring what I'm experiencing. Am I doing it wrong? Like, why doesn't my experience match what this is telling me that I just go through these different stages and then at the end of it, everything's good again. That's really how we were conditioned and brought into grief. That's just not the experience that almost everybody I've ever talked to has had. If you didn't leverage and utilize those stages to get to a different point, what did you do? What was the alternative that you found to help you learn and process your grief?
First, I went to therapy. I went to EMP at my job, and I was able to talk to someone and realize my triggers. And it's all right. Nobody can tell you how to grieve or how long to grieve. So you don't have to wear an S on your chest and prove that you're so strong. If you want to cry, you want to scream. People go through grief in different ways, and is no right way to go through grief. So I had to learn what my triggers was, what things I couldn't do. Like I couldn't attend my friends' kids' graduation because when I went, I would be so sad and crying through the whole event. And it's a joyous occasion, and I'm hysterically crying, and people looking at me like, "Why is she doing the death in the middle of graduation?" So I realized that I couldn't go. And then the most important thing that I did was I turned my pain into passion, and I started a scholarship fund in my son's honor. It's called the Thomas Friends and Family Scholarship. And to date, I've given 15 scholarships to African American boys that have been accepted to college. So I give them a $500 scholarship that they can use for whatever they might need it for going to college. So since my son loved education, that's his legacy. That's how I remember him. And when I feel sad, I remember the happy times. When I miss him, I remember something funny that he said or that he did, a smell, an outfit that he would wear. And now I can remember those things with joy.
It's remarkable what you're doing in this world. And I love that you took something that he loved, education, and that was important to him. And then you turn that into your way to actively honor him. And I think that is such an important part of the grieving process is when we can almost embed them into the fabric of who we are now because grief changes us, right? There's no doubt we were one person before the loss or the scar, and we are a different person after. But it's in this person who we're becoming, we're not alone in that. the people that, came before us that we love, that we were attached to, that we lost, they become part of us and this new person that we're becoming. Is that how you felt? Is that the experience that you had as well?
Yes, I feel that. Like the first two books that I wrote, I would have never wrote them until my son passed away. And then I was like, okay, I'm always saying I want to write a book. I want to write a book. But tomorrow is not promised. Whatever you have to do, you have to do it today. Because when I went to sleep on April 23rd, I had a lot of plans for April 24th. But when I woke up, I was in the emergency room fighting for my life, not knowing if I would see another day. So that's why I go so hard. That's why I come out and I talk to people and tell them, don't let your dreams die inside of you. Don't rock your dreams to sleep. Don't let anybody kill your dream.
So much that you're saying that I just want to write down because it's just so filled with wisdom, and don't rock your dreams to sleep is such a really powerful statement. And it's important to say this isn't necessarily what somebody should expect to feel right after loss. Right after uh, a loss, you're just in this free fall. And everybody kind of comes out of that free fall time in a different way, on a different timeline. Like you said, there are no rules to any of this. But there does come a point for most people where we get to make the choice. We get to make the choice to, like you said, intentionally show up, continue to spread, the message and to be the person that we were called to be in this world, and to allow ourselves to continue to inspire through these hardships, through these challenges. And not rocking your dreams to sleep is just such a beautiful way to state that we're living. Again, it goes back to that living list. I feel like everything you're saying is taking me back to that concept of create your living list, know what you want to stand for and know what you want to show up for and know what your dreams are and live them, because you are here. And there'll be a day when we're not here. And, will we have shown up in the way that mattered, that made an impact, or did we just allow all of that to keep us down? And you're just such a perfect example of not taking that path. And that's really inspirational.
Thank you.
So, I know the scar taught you a lot about life, but how did it make you stronger? How did these different scars just make you stronger?
Just going through them, not stopping in the middle, but going through them and knowing that through it all, I still stand. That a lot of people would have been knocked down by just half the things that I went through, but that I was like that clown at the carnival, the clown that you throw the ball at and it goes all the way down like it's gonna go down, and then all of a sudden it bounces back up again. Everything that I've been through gave me that bounce back spirit. That everything I went through, I bounced back from it. That did it affect me? Yes. But I didn't allow it to keep me down. I bounced back. I saw it above my circumstances. I realized that every storm, even a hurricane, has an expiration date. No storm lasts forever. So if you can just survive the storm, if you can evacuate or survive the storm, whatever you have to do, the storm is not going to last forever. You just have to survive the storm.
That's right. Just hang on to those life preserves in whatever way that means something to you. That's different for all of us. Some people that's going to be friends, some people that's going to be volunteering, some people it's going to be creating a movement or a mission. That's going to look different for everybody, but we do all have resources. And like you said, if we can just hang on, that GPS is going to redirect us. And I love how you mentioned that. That's beautifully articulated that this GPS is going to get us there. It may take a long route and a long detour that we didn't intend, but if we just hang on, we're going to find our way back. We're going to
Yeah.
find our way back. Yeah. So thinking about kind of the wisdom, and you've already shared so much wisdom with us here today, but just the closing thought, if you could go back to who you were at the time that you had that first most impactful scar with losing your son, what would you say to that version of yourself?
That you're gonna make that it might not look like it now. It might not feel like it. It's dark. You can't see the end of the tunnel. But there's a saying by Martin Luther King. He says, if you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. Just keep moving. So that's my advice. Don't stop moving forward. Just keep moving. If it's a crawl, let it be a crawl. If it's a walk, let it be a walk. Where you can run on to the finish line.
Absolutely. And, I talk a lot about healing in community and taking those steps together, which I think is something that's been missing in grief and very passionate about trying to bring that back. But it's everybody showing up in whatever step they're ready for, right? Like you said, for some people, that's going to be scooting. That's for some people, that's going to be crawling. For some people, that's going to be stepping. And then eventually, some people may be running towards a bigger purpose or trying to make an impact in the world. And all of it's okay. All of it's okay. Whatever step you're in, it's all okay. And it's okay not to be okay. So there may be a step where you don't move for a period of time. And if that's what your body is telling you need, then that's what you need. I remember after my dad passed away, I literally laid on the couch for 2 months, didn't do anything. And that's just what my body needed to just rest and heal. But then there comes a time where you're ready to take that step. And it's just like you said, it's just one tiny step forward. And then you do that again the next day, and then the next day, and all of a sudden you've started to build a little bit of momentum. And all of a sudden you're finding yourself in a place that before felt almost unattainable to get to. So I would absolutely agree with that advice. Just know that there will be a day when you come to where you say, I'm going to just take that first step. And that first step is going to lead you to a different path than you can imagine at that time. Thank you so much for sharing your voice and for sharing your heart and for sharing your story. You are inspirational beyond words, and everything that you've been through, your scars and your wisdom are going to help so many other people. So thank you.
Thank you for having me and allowing me to be transparent and come as I come as me.
That's the only people that we should be showing up as.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to show up as yourself. It's when we try to show up as other people that we start to get tripped up. So your transparency and your authenticity is just, it's inspiring to me. So thank you.
Thank you again.